Well, I have one that says 8:03 and this one's 8:01, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank our sponsors, Tres Sorel Dulce and Bavarian Bakery. And I would like to thank Tara for coming in from Impact Technology Group. And I'm going to give you the floor.
Perfect. So, um, as she said, my name is Tara Diskin. I am from Impact Technology Group. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. Okay. Can everyone see that okay?
Mhm.
Okay. So I am from Impact Technology Group. As I said, we are a leading provider of IT, cybersecurity, and voice services. Again, my name is Tara. I'm the marketing manager here. A little bit about myself. I've been with Impact for 7.5 years. So I actually started here as an intern, worked my way up, and now I'm marketing manager. So I've been with the company for, like I said, almost 8 years. I've learned a lot here. When I started here, I didn't even realize that companies like Impact were actually out there. So I'm proud to actually be part of something that supports local businesses. Think of us as sort of like an outsourced IT department for businesses. So we are supporting the people that help support our communities, our businesses, our local areas. So I'm very proud to be a part of something here. A little bit more about Impact. So we are the only technology services provider here in Delmarva that's built on operational excellence, unmatched customer service, and professional results. We're not just a room full of nerds. We are actually business-oriented people that are helping, like I said, other businesses. Some of our core offerings, as I said, so we are an IT services offering. We offer things that include just general support, business strategy, productivity. We have our secure IT, which is the security, cybersecurity piece of it, keeping businesses protected here in Delmarva. And then our phone services is Cortello. So one unique thing about our phone services is that you are not tied to a handset. So you don't have to have an actual desk phone. You can have a mobile app, you can have an app on your computer, your laptop, you can take anywhere with you as long as you have an internet connection. So that's become even more prevalent for remote work. So that's just a little bit about us. We're also veteran owned. So our founder, Justin
Just a
Kelly.
minute. Who's ever just signed on, can you mute your phone, please? 302, thank you.
So as I was saying, we are a veteran-owned company. Our founder, Justin Kelly, is a veteran of the Marine Corps and also the Coast Guard. So we take a lot of those ideologies and practice it in our business as well. We are one of the highest rated technology service providers on Delmarva, and we always try and focus on a live satisfaction score. So every single issue or request that we request feedback on from our clients. So they're always making sure that we are providing the best support and services possible. So today we're obviously talking about technology. I know that a lot of people think that technology is boring or can be detrimental or is just annoying to deal with, especially when you think about having to call IT. You think, okay, this is just some geek sitting in a dark basement that it's just going to tell me to turn it off and turn it back on again. But technology is obviously a lot more than that. So I wanted to open it up to anybody here that wants to join with me. Obviously, big reasons for technology is one thing we're doing here today, which is Zoom is a source of technology, and things like this or Microsoft Teams, Slack meetings, Google Meet, stuff like that obviously has become more prevalent with COVID, the remote workforce, all that kind of good stuff. So what other ways do you guys use technology in your businesses? Anybody want to answer?
Email.
Mm-hmm. It's a very, very big one. Anybody
Internet?
else?
Internet?
Internet, 100%. That's one of the biggest ones that I had written down. Anybody else? Obviously, the computers you're working at, cell phones you're on right now, it's all part of technology. Do you guys have any kind of like line of business software, CRMs, anything like that you guys use?
We use a database.
Mm-hmm. What
Yeah,
about
so do I.
AI? I'm sorry?
I said, so do I, database.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's also AI, so artificial intelligence. So a lot of people are using more and more AI for their businesses for automation, even content writing, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, our phones, like I said, our cell phones, but also just our general office phones, our numbers, faxing, printers. I mean, all of that is connected with technology. The remote workforce. So some of you here might actually work remotely, and a lot of you may connect to some sort of file share or VPN or server or something like that that allows you to cohesively work, even though you're not directly in the same office as some of your coworkers. So technology today is extremely prevalent. We all know that. So yeah, going on to cybersecurity, I was talking earlier about how a lot of people don't take cybersecurity seriously. A lot of people think that it won't happen to them. We have a saying here at Impact that it's not if, it's when, because in some sort of way you will be put up against a cybersecurity threat, an attack. It could be as simple as a text that you get on your phone from UPS saying that they have an update on your package. You click the link, they have your information. So why is cybersecurity so important? It's protection for yourself and for your business. So for yourself, you have to think all of your information, like your credit cards, your social security information, your passwords, this flows down to your family. Things that people could use maliciously or sell on the dark web. They're things that you want to keep protected. And then the flip side is the business. So if you're a CPA office and you work with multiple people's QuickBooks files, they are going to have maybe their payroll information in those QuickBooks files. They're going to have their banking information possibly in those QuickBooks files. And if someone were to hack a CPA office, they wouldn't have just the CPA office information, but all of their clients' information as well. Same with healthcare facilities. You guys are probably familiar with HIPAA. If you go to the doctor's office, you're required to sign a HIPAA awareness, all that kind of good stuff. It's your personal health information that you would not want shared. And then, of course, finances, like I said, your banking information, stock information, your 401k information, I mean, all that kind of good stuff. The thing is, though, with a business, it's not just your information that they're stealing. It's not always just your client's information that you're stealing. You have to think about your reputation as a business after you're hit with a cyber attack. So if your business, if you're a CPA office and you have a competitor that's also a CPA office and you get hit with a cyber attack and they don't, your reputation is going to be tarnished. Some of your clients might move to the other CPA office. And then how would your other team members or employees be able to survive that with the company shut down? It's much more than a simple attack. It's a ripple effect that can really affect businesses as a whole. And then you have to think about the employees' families. What would they do if they did not have a job? And it goes from there. So that's one of the big things that I try and educate people on is cybersecurity is so important because of that huge ripple effect. You have an entirely still lake, you throw one rock into the middle of it, and it's going to pretty much affect the whole thing. It's going to send ripples everywhere. So as technology advances, the risk of security breaches also increases. I have some statistics. They are incredibly insightful. They're alarming. This is why protection is so prevalent, because you don't want to have to see these numbers or a number actually written in a paycheck or a check that you have to write. So the average cost of a data breach for companies of all sizes is $200,000. The average ransomware payment for a small to mid-sized business, and when I say small to mid-size, I mean 5 to 50, 5 to 100, is $42,000. I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to write a $42,000 check. The thing with ransomware is you can pay that money and there's still no guarantee that you might actually even get the money back. The average time to identify a data breach is 193 days. You'll see that that's different from the average time to contain a data breach, which is 39 days. The reason it's written like that is because data breaches can happen without you even knowing it for a very long time. Hackers are really sophisticated in their methods. Obviously, it is becoming more prevalent, but it can take up to 193 days. That's the average time, so it could take longer. But they could be sitting in the background of your workstation, of your files, of your email for a long time, just gathering information before you'd even know it. And the longer you take to identify that there's a breach, the more catastrophic the situation could be.
How do you know?
Well, you don't always know until it's too late. You might get a pop-up on your screen that says, "You've been infected. I have all your files." It could be as simple as you start looking for some files and you see some files in that you haven't put there, named weirdly. New applications you might see, new plugins on your browsers. I mean, there's identifying factors that if you didn't do it, there's a good chance that someone else may have. And then in your email, if you start missing email or you notice that there's rules that have been set up that you did not set up, there's a good chance that your email could have been compromised. So the last thing I wanted to mention on this slide, of course, is 90% of breaches occur during non-working hours. So these hackers may not, they might gain access during business hours, but they're not going to be active while you're active on your computer. If you log out at 5 o'clock and you don't log in until 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning, they could be just working in the background, data parsing, figuring out what your passwords are, that kind of stuff. So how can you protect yourself and your business from getting attacked? So a couple do's and don'ts I have here. So do is use hard to guess passphrases. So what I mean by passphrases is I don't mean your kid's name, their birthday, and then exclamation point. Passphrases are more, you can just look around the room, like coffee, laptop, chair, 93, asterisk. That's a passphrase. You want to use different passwords for different accounts. If you have the same password for your Facebook account that you do your bank account, Facebook can be very easily hacked. And so it's ideal to not use the same passwords for multiple accounts. Enable two-factor authentication. A lot of people think that two-factor authentication is, to be frank, a pain in the butt, and it is, but it protects you even further because it's a way to identify that you are the one actually logging into that system. Destroy hard drives or shred paperwork with personal information. For a lot of law offices or even healthcare facilities, a lot of this stuff is already required. Most of them, if you do destroy a hard drive, they have to get a certificate of destruction just to cover themselves. Lock your computer and mobile devices. So if you step away from your computer at work, go ahead and just lock it just to make sure. Your cell phones, make sure they're actually password protected. I would never own a computer that does not have a password on it. I would never do it. I would never own a cell phone that does not have a password on it. It can be hacked, of course, but it's that extra layer of security. Use a VPN when working remotely. So as I've kind of been saying, that working remotely is more prevalent in today's society. You want to use a VPN because it creates, VPN stands for, I'm totally drawing a blank. It's a personal tunnel for you to use, a direct access tunnel to your office from where you're at. So think of it as like a road on the highway, but you're the only person that can use that road. No one else can use that road. So it keeps it more secure. And then you do report any suspicious activity. So as I was saying, if you notice that there's extra rules in your email that you set up, go ahead and report it. I hope that each one of you have either a technology services provider like Impact or a in-house IT manager team, anything like that. If you notice something, it's better to be safe than sorry, and always report anything that you think is out of the normal. Even if you get an email that you're not sure about, forward it to them, make sure they take a look at it before you respond or click any links or anything like that. So some don'ts: create easy passwords like password 123, QWERTY 12345. Like I said, if you're making passwords that have your kids' names, your pets' names, all that kind of good stuff, don't do it because they're easily guessed. One thing that I've noticed on Facebook is there will be trends going around of, oh, everybody hop on, where did you live in 3rd grade? And if you really think about it, that's a security question on a lot of accounts. And, on Facebook, it just seems like this cool, oh, I'm just going to join in. People get to know me. I get to know people. You're giving out your password without even knowing it. So don't share more information than you need to. And obviously you're going to have your kids' names and stuff like that. Oh, it's their birthday today. So don't use those as part of your passwords. So don't leave sensitive information lying around for others to see or steal. Obviously, don't leave someone's social security card just hanging out in your office. Don't post any private information on social media or in emails or texts. That's kind of what I said earlier. Do not click on any links from unknown sources. Don't do it. If you don't know the source, even if you know the source, you might want to call them and confirm that they actually sent you a link. Links are one of the highest causes of breaches from employees, because employees get an email from their boss, from the CFO, from their operations manager, whoever it is, the practice manager. They think that it's a trusted source. They don't look further into the email. They click the link and that's all she wrote. Don't connect to unsecured Wi-Fi. So if you are at Dunkin' Donuts and you are using your laptop, you might be able to connect to the Wi-Fi and then connect to your VPN for that security feature, but I wouldn't just connect to their Wi-Fi and then access client data or any of your personal information. Their Wi-Fi is created for guests. It's created for multiple people to use. It is not as secure as you think. Don't install unauthorized applications on your work computer. So if you get an ad on a web page and it says, oh, this is a great browser extension, it's really going to help increase your productivity. Let's go ahead and just add it real quick, or download this app and it'll help you out. Run it by your team first, your IT team. They can make sure that it's nothing malicious. Sometimes if you add extensions or unauthorized apps on your computer, it can cause browser issues. You'll open up your browser and it doesn't go to Bing or Google anymore. It goes to some random third party that you've never even heard of. So as I said, just make sure that you run it by somebody first before doing it. And if you're ever unsure, just don't chance it. So I wanted to go over a couple of the specific types of cybersecurity attacks that we might face. Some of you guys aren't going to maybe get the higher end ones, but these are lower level ones that you possibly have already seen or will see. So the phishing or social engineering. This comes into play when you have an email that looks legitimate, but it's not, and it could have anything malicious in it. Phishing is spelled PH, but it is similar to people are casting and they're trying to hook anybody out there. So you want to check your links before clicking on them. So by doing that, you just hover over the link. I don't know that there's a way to do it on your cell phone. So if you are checking anything, make sure you're doing it on a computer. Look for any grammar or spelling mistakes. Never reply to an email or text with any personal information. Double check your email addresses and numbers. Do you recognize them? Does their name match who you're actually emailing? Are you expecting an email from them? and never open any attachments from unknown sources. So I do have a quick example for us to look at. I hope everyone can still see my screen. This is an example of a Netflix email that someone could get. So you'll notice that there is a
It's not showing.
It's not showing.
No, all we see is your logo with the red. There you go. Oh, go back. You had it there for a second.
Okay, you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, this is a Netflix automatic payment email. There is a random email address, a random email address in the to field. So you can see it's no reply, this mailer ID 33 at blah, 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 blah. But the sender name shows Team Netflix. So looking at this, if you weren't looking closely, you would think that maybe this is just an email from Netflix. But it's important to actually look at the sending email address, because if it is something random like this, it's definitely not Netflix. Netflix is much more sophisticated and uses their own domain, so netflix.com. So there's that. There's clear grammar issues. So click here to update your payment method. Does not have a period at the end of the sentence. That is something small. But you can see the next line, the P in please is not capitalized. So there's a couple things that you can tell if a huge company like Netflix can't get their grammar right, it's probably not Netflix. And then, as I mentioned earlier, strange links or tracking codes, even the click here link in the Netflix email, I guarantee you that if you hover over that click here, it would not even have anything to do with Netflix. But it could take you to a page that looks exactly like a Netflix page, exactly looking like it's asking for your credit card information or your PayPal information or anything like that. And if you entered it and submitted it, you may not know for a while, or you could log into your bank account the next day and it would have nothing in it. You just don't know. So it's important to look at all the small details. And obviously, if you're not expecting a email from Netflix, then you know to go actually look at your account, not access it through the email. So we get a lot of requests here, specifically from our users, or the people that we work with. So spoofing, I don't know how many people are familiar with that terminology, but it is when someone simulates or disguises themselves as someone else that would allow them to gain information. So if you have your CEO and they email you and it actually says, you know, for me, it'd be Justin Kelly. If Justin Kelly sends me an email, I'm going to say, okay, well, this is actually from Justin. It shows Justin's name. It might even show his email address. So I should definitely go get those $500 gift cards from Sam's Club and send him the codes back in the email. I should definitely do that. But in reality, there is a way that people can spoof other people's email addresses. The same thing happens with phone numbers. You might get a call that looks like it's from your bank, and they could have totally spoofed the number. If anyone asks about your sensitive information, the best rule of thumb is to contact that person over the phone to confirm. Never click any links without hovering over them first. So say you do get an email from your bank and it says, you know, we have a question about your account. Can you verify your account information, et cetera, et cetera. I would go ahead and contact your bank, whether it's a Google search or you already have their number, but directly call them versus just replying to an email that you aren't expecting. So that's always a good rule of thumb. And a tip, if you get a notification from a vendor, an application, software, et cetera, for a notification or to change your password, go to their webpage via a browser. You can search, or if you have a shortcut, instead of the link in an email. So it's always just a good rule of thumb. Say you do get a Facebook password request, it's expired or you need to reset it. Don't do it from the email, but go to your Facebook app directly, reset it from there. No harm, no foul. So malware and ransomware. These are extremely scary. If you've never come to contact with one, you are blessed because they can be very detrimental. So things to do to prevent you from getting any kind of malware or ransomware. And just to give a brief explanation, the ransomware is the one that you would get that $42,000 ransomware payment for. It's pretty much where they go in and encrypt all of your files so you would not be able to access your files. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know that I could do very much work without access to my files or my software or anything like that that I use on a daily basis. So you always want to make sure that your antivirus stays up to date. Don't click on anything you don't know is safe. Never download anything without verification from your IT department or team. Verify your firewalls are monitoring spikes in activity. So firewall is a higher end technological term. It's used for businesses in a larger business environment. I mean, even people with 3 people in their office should have a firewall. It's an extra layer of protection, kind of like a brick wall they can't get through. And then obviously protect your information. Don't give it out. You also want to avoid bad websites. So fake online shopping websites. If you've ever typed in, like, can you guys still see my screen?
Same one.
Okay. I don't know why it's not. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Avoid bad websites. Okay. So if you've ever seen anything like at the bottom where it says goggle or Amazon instead of Amazon, those can actually be typed in like that by ourselves pretty easily, whether we just miss an extra O or we type an N instead of an M. And most times you'll get a pop-up with an audible alert that says your computer's been hacked, all that kind of good stuff. Just close the browser immediately, actually close out of everything. Contact your IT department. They'll make sure that everything is good to go. But don't follow all the Facebook shopping links or ads for things. You know, if you see a hoodie that allows your cat to sit in the front of it and it's on Facebook, maybe go on Amazon and type that in instead of following that link. And never guess a URL. I would say don't try and type in what you think a URL or a website address might be. You want to either Google search it or access it another way, maybe even your bookmarks. So those are some things to avoid any kind of bad websites that could have malware or cause infections on your computer. So what to do if you have been hacked? A lot of people think that it could not happen to them. And I'm here to remind you that it can. It can happen to anybody. So first is stay calm. I know that's very hard to do, but you want to assess the situation. You want to figure out, okay, let me get in a calm mindset and figure out what exactly has happened. If you are reacting hastily, it's not going to help the situation anymore. So stay calm. Second is to call your IT department. That could be someone like Impact, who is here for you guys 24/7. And if you notice it, give us a call. Your internal IT department, if you have someone specifically for IT on staff, call them. Next is to follow your incident response plan. So your incident response plan contains these 4 things. So it's pretty much a plan of if something were to happen, what are the steps that we need to do to get us back up and running? So you're obviously going to contain and isolate. You're going to identify what happened, respond, and then restore. So you want to make sure you can restore everything back to working order so you can continue working. This is something that your IT department or IT personnel should have for you. If they do not, I would ask them to get that for you because it is important. It's the same mindset of if there was an emergency or a fire, what's our fire escape plan, or where should we meet up after the fire happens, or something like that. It's good to have a plan in place before anything were to ever happen. So the next steps, which a lot of people don't realize, but you should call your insurance company, you should call a lawyer, you should call the police, and then you should inform your clients. So a lot of people might say, oh, call the police. Why would I do that? It's just affecting me and my business. But a lot of these hacks are actually considered criminal activity or crimes. So it's important to actually report them to your local police department. There have even been FBI cases. I mean, it is something that it can cause them to go to jail or be fined or anything like that. Plus, the police if it is a large enough scale, like I said, they could get the FBI involved and you're going to have more people on your team to help you recover. I hope and pray that none of you do experience anything like this, but it is important to follow these steps in case something were to ever happen. And last but not least, obviously, if something does happen and the dust is settled, you want to review your security posture, including your policies and procedures, to make sure that something like this could not happen again. And you can only protect yourself 99% of the time. There's no way to 100% be security protected, but you want to try to prevent it as much as possible. I think it was Steve earlier talking about how it wants to be winter right now. If you guys were to walk outside in a tank top and shorts, you would be pretty cold. You don't have those layers of protection to keep you warm. So in a business mindset, if you are leaving your business with a tank top and shorts on in the middle of winter, you guys might not be as protected as you think you are. Whereas you should put on, a pair of jeans and a shirt, and then another shirt and a jacket and a scarf and a hat and gloves. There are things to keep you protected. So practical how-tos of making technology work for you. These are just some things that I am suggesting. The first and foremost is to work with a IT personnel, your IT department, or work with someone like Impact. We're making sure that your technology is efficient, it's secure, and it's helping your business grow. Technology is an asset to any business. It's a pillar of security, it's a pillar of stability, it's a pillar of productivity. It's there to help your business grow. If you guys didn't have data or software management to keep track of clients or their information, you may not be able to do business as efficiently. So I would highly suggest working with somebody to make sure your technology is where it should be, to first and foremost, keep it secure, and second of all, to make sure you're actually productive in what you're doing. So the second thing I would suggest is updating your computer life cycle. And what I mean by this is we have clients that come to us and their computer is 7, 8 years old. And they say, oh, my computer's slow. I can't work as fast as I used to. Your computer is 7 years old. Computers are actually only meant to last 3 to 5 years. And that might seem shorter than you'd think. But it's just like any other type of machinery. I mean, your cars last longer, obviously, than 3 to 5 years, but eventually they are going to start breaking down. They're not going to run as nicely. You still have to do your oil changes on your cars, get new tires, all that kind of stuff. It's the same with your computers. So I would say make sure that you are budgeting for new equipment, budgeting for new computers, making sure that your computer is up to date. The same thing with your operating system. So if you have Windows, if you're running Windows 10 or Windows 11, you are going to be working more efficiently than someone with Windows XP. It's just how it is. If you have an iPhone that has iOS 10 instead of the new iOS, I think we're on 17 now, your iPhone is not going to work as fast, nor can you even install some applications. So again, I would just make sure that your equipment stays up to date and that you do factor this in, that your computers are not going to last much longer than 5 years. If you get to 7, you're cutting it close, but you're more likely for breakdowns to happen the older your computer gets. Next is investing in your employee cybersecurity training. So even if you're just one person, I would invest in some sort of training platform or do it annually, some sort of cybersecurity training. It is something that we offer to all of our clients here at Impact because it is extremely important that not just the people at the top, the managers, the CEO, the CFO, they take it seriously, but every employee in an organization should take it just as serious because it could be one of them that infect themselves and everyone up. So it's important to invest in a cybersecurity training platform or some sort of, even if it's just a PowerPoint, even something like this. You guys, if you haven't done this at all, even coming to this coaching session today is an investment into your cybersecurity. Next is your remote workforce. So making sure that everything is up to date, your computers, they have the webcam, the monitors, everything that they would need, but also the security piece of it. They're connecting to their own internet. They're in their own facility. They may not be as connected as people at the office. So when you're looking at remote work, you want to make sure that they have what they need to be most effective and efficient, and that they're not causing any risk to your business by not being directly in the office. And the last thing I have is to invest in productivity enhancing applications. It's a fancy word, but Office 365, things like that. I don't know if you guys use any kind of messaging applications for your teams. There's Microsoft Teams, Slack, stuff like that. It's much more effective and efficient than sending emails back and forth, because emails can get lost. And sending just a direct message is a lot easier. Most of us are familiar with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, et cetera, and of course Outlook. The one thing I wanted to mention when it comes to email is when it comes to your email address, if you have State Farm Delaware at gmail.com versus Diskin at statefarmdelaware.com, it's going to look a bit more professional to have the actual domain name versus just an @Gmail account. So I would keep that in mind when looking into whether it's Microsoft licensing and a domain name through that, or there's also the Google Suite, which they've recently changed the name of, but I believe it's the Google Workspace Suite. So I would definitely check into those. They will help you be more effective, help you be more efficient, and ultimately help the business as a whole drive towards growing, towards winning, and going from there. So that is all I have to present to you guys, but I wanted to open it up for any questions that you might have. They can be any technology related questions. If I don't have the answer, I can get it to you by the end of the day today. But any questions that you guys have, I'm opening up the floor to you.
Different security apps, like what's a good one to have on there on your?
So for basic, even like home security, you have Norton antivirus, you have McAfee. Here at Impact, we provide a set of cybersecurity applications. It includes your normal antivirus, but it also includes managed detection and response. So instead of you having to sit there and look for a file that might be out of the ordinary, the software would actually look for that for you and alert us immediately if something were to happen. So even if it's like a software install and it's not a good software, it would notify us and we would be able to take care of it right away. I can't give out our secret sauce as far as which ones that we use, but even things like Norton and McAfee are decent ones.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also Microsoft Defender. That's a fairly new one. But you can get those sometimes with your Microsoft Suite.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Maybe we could have everyone go around and introduce themselves too after.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead, Vic. Karen.
Okay. Yeah, and then I actually had a question. Well, I'm Karen Vicks. I have a law practice in Dover, where I represent disabled individuals for Social Security disability and also for veterans disability. And something that you said that resonates with me, because I don't think I'm an out of the ordinary attorney, but changing things just doesn't isn't something that I do often. So when you mentioned that about the computers, I think you said you would change, they need to be changed out every or updated. Now, are you talking about the computer itself, or are you talking about just updating, I guess, what's running on it or the hardware, stuff like that?
So it's always good to keep your computer updated. So if you have any kind of Windows updates that come through, it's good to keep it updated. Normally they'll put out, security, or they'll fix bugs, stuff like that. So it is always good to keep your computer up to date. And then what I was referencing was that 3 to 5 year cycle. That's actually getting a whole new computer and transferring everything from the old computer to the new computer.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one more question. Is it better to turn your computer off at night
Oh,
then?
good one.
So it does depend. For example, for us, we automatically push updates for all of our clients every Thursday night. So we ask them to leave their computer on every single Thursday night so that we can perform the security updates needed to keep their computer running effectively. When it comes to keeping it online all the time, you certainly do not have to. If you keep it on all the time, it's good to restart it every once in a while because it refreshes it. If you turn it off at night, it's not going to hurt anything. But if you do have some of those Windows updates that come through, you might notice that when you log in or turn it on, log in the next morning, that it's going to take a minute to do all those updates. So as long as you're okay with waiting that little bit of time for those updates to go through, it's completely okay for you to turn it off at night.
I just wondered for security, because you said that's when they're in there.
It also depends if you guys have any kind of security application, software, anything on your computer. So like I said, for us, if we have a client and we have suspicious activity after hours, it's still going to notify us and we're still going to take care of it right then and there. So if you don't have those security features in place, then it might be a better idea to shut it down while you're not using it.
Okay. All right, Denise, you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Denise Burke. I'm the Senior Administrator of Business Relations for Department of Labor, Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And our mission is to assist people with disabilities to obtain their career pathway. We send people for training, credentialing, college, whatever it takes for them to be successful in that career.
That's awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And Deborah? Can't hear you. Here. Deborah, can you hear me? And we'll go on to the iPhone. I don't know who the iPhone person is. Looks like we lost a couple people.
Try that again. Better?
Yes.
So Tara, you're not the only one struggling this morning with the IT information. Once again, I'm Deb from the Delaware State Housing Authority here in Dover on the Green. And I enjoy the information that you're providing for us and appreciate the updating and reinforcement of the information we're being given from the state of Delaware's IT department, which is pretty strong. But I think it's always good to bring back the little different pieces of information. You've mentioned a couple of things that I want to actually reach out to the IT department and talk to them about. Number one, having that battle plan should something happen. I think that's huge. And I don't know that I've heard that suggestion before. So I'm always appreciative of the coffee coaching because I somehow always pull something else out, and that enables me to provide that information and pass that along to the other team members. So I thank you for that very much.
Of course.
And thank you to the CDCC for doing these. I know that sometimes there's not a lot of us, but those of us who are here and attending certainly do appreciate them.
Yeah, I try to figure out things. If you ever have a suggestion of something that, I can always look for someone to do it.
You guys do a great job. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, for the time as well.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we're going to jump to the one that says iPhone, no phone number.
Good morning. I'm iPhone.
Okay.
My name's Todd Hilliker. I'm the Veterans Employment Rep for Department of Labor. And I do have one question. I've only used usually Windows Defender on my personal computer. And I've used it on Windows 10, and I just have a new computer I got with Windows 11. Is that really a good program?
Yes, so Microsoft Windows Defender is a decent program. It's put out actually by Microsoft. So I think it's an excellent product.
Okay, thank you.
And we have one more that stayed on, 302-242. 33693. I don't think I read all those right, but. Hello?
I don't know if they're actually connected.
That's Jen's number.
Oh, so that's Jennifer Jerzak.
That's Jen's
Oh.
number, yep.
She was there.
Yeah. I do have a question too. When you say that it's a decent security program, is it decent as in it's really good or it could be better?
So the reason I say it like that is because I personally can never guarantee 100% a product. There's that one, Microsoft Defender, is one of the best ones out there. However, like I said, I cannot 100% guarantee that something couldn't happen if you have something like that on your computer.
Oh yeah, there's no guarantees. I just want to make sure. Like Norton, the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, Norton and McAfee, they're the more common ones. I would personally use Microsoft Defender over Norton or McAfee. But there's also the things like LifeLock that aren't applications, but that do monitor like your personal information. Things like that are good to look into. I don't know 100% about the residential personal use of things. I know more about more of the business aspect of things, if that makes sense. But those are ones that I would recommend over having nothing at all.
Okay, thanks. And Jen just texted me. She said she can't get her phone off mute, but she's there. So I will introduce her. It's Jennifer Jerzak is a business relations specialist in DVR, and she works with businesses and has a caseload of clients that she assists to obtain employment. Welcome, Jen.
Yeah, welcome, Jen.
And I'm her spokesmodel.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, put two together. Well, Terry, does anybody else have questions or comments or anything? No? Well, I want to thank
Share
you
my
for being
screen
here.
one more time. I actually do have something for you guys that are on here. Let me share this. So we're actually running, I don't want to say a special, but we are running a opportunity right now for businesses in our area to do a free technology assessment. So if anyone on here is interested, they can certainly reach out to me. I've put my email on there, as well as this QR code. So our technology assessment goes over things like hardware, cybersecurity, productivity, all those good things. It's kind of like almost like a scorecard or a test to make sure your technology is working best for your business. And we're offering that for free right now to businesses on Delmarva. So if anyone is interested, certainly reach out to me or fill out the form, that QR code, and I'd be happy to get things started for you.
Thank you. And I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody, and next month we have some more coming up. I will invite you again. I try to do that just so you remember that we have coffee coaching. And
Awesome. Thank you everybody for listening to me talk for an hour.
Thank you.
And if anyone does have any questions, you are certainly feel free to reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to help you guys out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Too. Good to see you, Todd.
Yes, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. Good to have you on it.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stop the recording.